Senator Klobuchar.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations on your new job, and congratulations to you, Judge Garland, on your nomination.
Thank you.
I listened with much happiness in your opening remarks when you talked about being the lawyer for the people, that you want to serve the law and not factional purposes, and that you used the important adjective humble. I think we could need a little bit more of that in this town, so I appreciate that. And I was also glad that you mentioned when President Biden nominated you, Attorney General Edward Levy, who taught an iconic first-year law class at the University of Chicago that I took. And like Edward Levy, who took office after Watergate, you will take on the Department of Justice at a critical time and will have the great task of restoring its ideals of independence and fidelity to the Constitution and to the law. What is the #1 thing you want to do to boost morale in the Department of Justice on day one?
Well, on day one, I'm hopefully, if I'm confirmed, I will take an oath in which I say all the things that you just said. I want to make clear to the career prosecutors, the career lawyers, the career employees, the career agents of the department that my job is to protect them from partisan or other improper motives. I then hope to have an opportunity over the next few months to visit with as many members of the Justice Department as possible. In the pandemic, unfortunately, this will have to be over Zoom. I would much prefer to be able to go down to the Great Hall or the cafeteria and mingle with folks and let them hear what's in my heart about this. But I'm afraid that technology is the only way I'm going to be able to do it now.
Okay, very good. One of the things that troubled me along these lines was the pardon process that President Trump undertook, and one study found that 88% of the pardons that he granted had some sort of personal or political connection to the former president. What do you think we need to do to restore integrity to the pardon process? Obviously, it's important power of the president. What do you think you can do from the Attorney General's position?
Well, Senator, you're right. This is a power granted by the Constitution to the president. I think the role of the Justice Department through its pardon attorney is to provide a careful, individualized examination of the people who are asking to be pardoned. The office has a set of very detailed regulations which describe when people are appropriate for pardons and when they are not. It provides an important screen that not only yields who maybe should be pardoned, but also protects the president from improper influence.
Okay. Just a few things I want to ask quickly because I want to also get to antitrust. You talked to Senator Graham about resources for domestic terrorism and that you want to take a look. Do you think you will need additional authorities, or you want to look at that when you get in there? I'm going to be chairing a hearing tomorrow with the Rules Committee on what happened at the Capitol and what we need to do to improve security. Obviously, part of it is prosecuting the perpetrators.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for that question. The department is probably always looking for new tools, but the first thing we have to do before we look for new tools is figure out whether the tools we have are sufficient, and that will be part of this briefing that I want to have to determine whether the laws, which are quite capable, and which were capable of the charges against McVeigh and Nichols and many other terrorists over the years, whether they are sufficient. And then I'd be interested in speaking with you and other members of the committee about what other additions might be made, but I first have to know whether anything more is necessary.
Very good. Will you commit to reinstating Attorney General Holder's 2015 guidelines requiring the AG to sign off on subpoenas to journalists, something I care a lot about as the daughter of a journalist?
Yes, so these guidelines came out originally when I was working for Ben Civiletti, and I had the great pleasure of working on them. These are things. This is something that I'm deeply committed to. They've improved, I would say, over the years as more concerns have arisen. But I would expect re-up to re-up those guidelines. I don't believe that they have been rescinded in any way, though. I believe they're still there.
No, but I couldn't really get a straight answer from Attorney General Sessions or Barr, so
All right. Well, I hope
we can
this is a
talk about
great
this
answer
more.
for you.
I know you support reforms to police practices, that's correct?
Yes.
Okay, very good. We obviously have a major bill on that. Conviction integrity units, something that I think is very important. You support federal grants for that?
Oh, yeah, yes. Look, I think that convicting someone who did not commit the crime is one of the most, it's a risk, of course, of all kinds of law enforcement, but if we can determine that we've made a mistake, we need very much to correct it. And I think that grants for the purpose of supporting conviction integrity units in district attorney, state's attorney's offices across the country is a very good idea.
We share an interest in antitrust law. I know that you used to teach that to law students, and you've handled some cases as judge. As chair of the Competition Policy and Antitrust Subcommittee, we're going to be doing a lot in this area along with my colleague, Senator Lee. 2/3 of U.S. industries have become more concentrated between 1997 and 2012. The pandemic has actually made things even harder on small businesses. I think that we need more resources. The FTC and the antitrust division of DOJ are literally shadows of what they were when the breakup of AT&T occurred. And we can't expect the agencies to do what we need to do to take on the biggest companies the world has ever known on the tech side, in addition to other ones with Band-Aids and duct tape. Senator Grassley and I have a bill to greatly increase the funding to those divisions and agencies. Would you support that?
Well, I appreciate your recognizing that my first love in law school was, in fact, antitrust, and I studied under one of the most famous scholars and was his research assistant, Phil Arita. When I was in practice, I worked with Bob Pitofsky, another one of the greatest scholars and the former head of the chair of the Federal Trade Commission, and I did practice antitrust law, including trying antitrust cases. I always want to be in a position of saying thank you, yes, when you ask whether we want more resources. My expectation is that is what I would say, but until I'm, until I'm confirmed, I really can't evaluate what resources we might need. But I'm happy to work with you.
Will you commit to vigorously enforcing the antitrust laws?
Absolutely.
I believe that we need some changes to those laws to aid you in doing that, and I hope you'll be open to those. I have a bill called the Competition Antitrust Law Enforcement Reform Act that I hope you'll look at. Changing some of the standards for mergers and for exclusionary conduct. I also think that if anything has illustrated the need to look back at the consolidation in some of these industries, it would be the lawsuits filed by DOJ and the FTC. Example, Facebook's acquisitions of Instagram and WhatsApp. I'd suggest you look at Mark Zuckerberg's email where he talked about purchasing nascent competitors, and I think the answer to that has got to come from the Justice Department, the reply to that email, that this kind of exclusionary conduct is not the way capitalism works in America, and we've always had a balance. We've had a balance through Republican presidents and Democratic presidents to say that we believe in the capitalist system, and we have to make sure we keep rejuvenating it by allowing smaller competitors to emerge. That's not happening right now in many areas, and I just need your commitment that you'll take this area of the law very seriously.
I take it very seriously and have throughout my entire career. The Supreme Court has repeatedly referred to the antitrust laws as the charter of American economic liberty, and I deeply believe that.
Thank you very much, Judge Garland.
Thank you.
Thanks, Senator Klobuchar. This is the first test of the new regime. We're going to take a break now for 10 minutes and resume at 11:20 for the much anticipated questioning of Senator Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.